Hello and welcome. Thank you for joining me for a conversation of change. Today, we're going to go through the kaleidoscope to understand culture. I'm Jo, Director and Founder of Twiga Group. We work with organisations to deliver business strategy through culture, through people and through change leadership. And we use human-centred design techniques to reimagine and strengthen organisational culture. If you're a board member or an organisational leader, a team member or a volunteer, I'm sure you've been part of a conversation that goes something like, we need to do something about our culture. And then in come the consultants to fix the culture problem. But nothing really changes. Sound familiar? So what does culture really mean? How do we nurture what we have, make change for the future, and strengthen what matters most to us? We like to think about culture as a complex problem, with many unknowns, interrelated elements, human behaviour, and innovation. And to understand culture, we think that you first must understand the connected components of your working organisation. To help organisations do this, and to understand where to start and how to make change, we've developed a simple model which we call the Kaleidoscope, to help simplify diagnosis and understand the organisation through consideration of 5 interconnected components. And when we explore the kaleidoscope, we use human-centred design techniques with teams so that people are at the centre of change, and culture and change is co-designed for maximum engagement. We find this to be a more emergent approach, and we also find it supports complex problem solving in a more effective way. So let's look at the kaleidoscope. The culture of an organisation is influenced by the connected components of a working organisation. You need to understand each element to understand culture. So let's take a look at each and explore their interactions and impact on culture more broadly. In doing this, I'm hoping to challenge your thinking a little bit about what culture is. So we start with our purpose, having a clear and shared understanding of why we exist and why we are here. Who do we serve? We then move to understanding the operating model, how the organisation works. Importantly, the operating model is not a structure or an org chart, but it's a functional view of the elements of an organisation that considers our people and capabilities, what we do and who we serve, and how we govern and how we make decisions. The operating model helps us to understand how we distribute capability ownership, how we set performance expectations, and what cross-functional operations are needed, which informs how we design the organisation. What are the functions of the operating model? And for each function, what are the core capabilities required? Not what is the job, but rather what are the capabilities? This helps define accountability for performance at all levels. We look at performance, we look at delegation of authority, and we consider organisational boundaries. And then we start to build role clarity, which is essential to understanding culture. How things get done around here is often who understands the role that they play and how the work gets done. So once we understand the operating model and the functional requirements, we can then start to design the jobs to be done. This is looking at roles and responsibilities, KPIs, and individual role clarity. It's how we set performance measures to drive the right behaviours to deliver on our organisational purpose. We move to look at people and skills, and we start to see our people across the workforce engaged with our purpose. Their behaviours align to our values, and each person understands how individual success enables the organisational success. And finally, we start to have a deep understanding of our culture, the mindset, the leadership behaviour that brings all of this together. We can see clearly how our values align to our purpose, we see our workforce engaged with purpose, and we see that each person understands their role in the success of the organisation. And we find that with the kaleidoscope model, you can focus on a particular aspect of the model at a particular time. For example, you might want to focus on understanding more deeply your operating model. And we will see immediately the influence on culture that will have. You might want to focus on people and skills as a particular focus for your organisation. And when you start to define more clearly what's involved there, you start to see an impact on the culture. Or you might consider looking at the model in its entirety. So you can see there's no quick fix. There's no shortcut. Culture needs to be nurtured with deliberate and considered leadership. And when we take time to understand the interconnected elements, we are well positioned to strengthen our culture for the future. Thanks for joining me today to take a look through the kaleidoscope and explore culture from a different perspective. Feel free to get in touch if you'd like to continue the conversation of culture and change. I wish you well on your journey.